folks. This is video 2 where we're covering some familiar JD Crowe style of fill-in licks that you often hear on medium tempo vocal tunes in between breaks and right before the vocals start back, before the singer comes back in. So a lot of times it's more than just one measure. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 measures, depends on the band or whoever's singing on when they decide they're ready to charge back in for the next verse. So if you'll remember last time, wrote out some rough tab, and you're going to see some more rough tab today, but we started off with this idea, okay, which sounded like this. Okay, and then we took out that second note and ended up with, which we're going to feed off of today. And then we also changed the first note of that and made it more bluesy. So if you're interested in going back and taking a look at that, please do. And now let's go back to this one for just a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep this note out right here. So it's still going to be coming off of whatever you were doing the measure before. Usually that's a 3rd string open, which is a G. And then we're going to do a quarter note on the 5th string. And then right here, when we get to this 1st string, we're not going to be open. We're going to do another 3-2 pull off on the 1st string. So it's going to be 3-2 pull off and then another 3-2 pull off. So I call this one the double pull off lick, and I have tried to become more high-tech. It's still my handwritten tab, but we're going to take a picture of it and see if we can throw it up here for you. So there it is. So let's take a look at just that first measure. We're going to have that whole 3-measure pattern we're going to kind of put together as well if you're interested in that. But any one of these 3 measures can be an individual lick that you can do, and they can be cut and pasted into other places. But let's take a look at that first one. So we've got the 3rd string open for the first beat, and then we start on the 2nd beat of the measure, most of these fill-in licks. So we got the 5th string open, and then pull off on the 1st string, and then directly to the 2nd string open with the index, and then another pull off 3-2. Use my thumb for that on the 3rd string, and then open 1st, and then usually open 3rd to get back to the G. So watch this and listen again as I play it. Okay, that's the way it should sound. Okay, and see my fingers. I use my, on the 1st string, I do a pull off on the ring finger, using my ring to the index there. Okay, you can use whatever finger you want. Some people use a ring finger also when they get to the 3rd string. I usually switch to my middle finger for whatever reason. That's just the way I learned it. But I think Jim Mills stays with his ring finger. A lot of other people go to the middle finger there on that one. But it looks something like this. Okay, so let's go back and look at the tab again and look at the 2nd measure, which is usually the kind of D tag lick, a Scruggs tag lick, except when JD played it, a lot of times he would do the hammer on there instead of a slide on the 3rd string, instead of, okay, as Earl would do a slide, JD a lot of times does a little hammer on where he does a little bit of pushing up on the 3rd string as he does it, but it sounds something like this. Okay, it's how it normally sounds. Okay, it should be pretty familiar to you, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on that one. And then the 3rd measure, to me, is, if JD's got one trademark lick there, it would be that last one where it's the double hammer on. And a lot of times you'll be going along, and he uses this a lot to kind of syncopate things. You think he's going to go back to, all right, finally going to end all these fill-in licks and start back to rolling, and it's kind of like another pause and a pow, if you will. But on this one, it's a double hammer on the 3rd string. So it's, and then the next time it's a hammer on pull off move, and I kind of do that one, and then the 3rd string open, okay, Let's see if I can get a little better shot here. Okay, and I'm doing that with my index finger here on my picking hand. Okay, and it's not just the movement you got to get down pat, it's the timing of it. It's kind of like you're putting a square peg in a round hole sometimes about trying to look at tab of this, because it doesn't always fit exactly. Like that first note could be an eighth note, and then you start on the second eighth note. But you could also, it's kind of like it's the first note's a little bit longer than that, and then you've got to as long as you land the plane at the right time, that's one thing, and then you want to try to start it at the right time and then work on the details of it. But you could spend years working on trying to perfect that. Okay, but that's everything on the third string. Is I pick with my index finger, and then you got a thumb, and then a middle, and then most of the time you're back to G. Okay, so let's put the whole string together, which is a good little pattern on a lot of these vocal tunes where you've got this space to fill. So it sounds something like this. Okay, we speed it up a little bit, and it should be pretty recognizable if you've listened to a lot of this type of music. A lot of times you can end the very last thing is to do a 2-5 slide on the fourth string to get you back to the rolling pattern. All right, so let's see if we can put it in a song. 9-pound hammer, it's a little too heavy. Let's see, how's that one go? Roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow. How can I roll where the wheels won't blow? All right, so that's about it for this week. And by the way, you could, instead of that first measure, you could use one of the licks from last time. So, I mean, for my size. Oops, I'm putting in next week's stuff. Okay, so you really just get this toolbox full of licks, and you can substitute them in any time you want. You'll start to hear things hear patterns that you'll use, and also kind of figure out ones that sound good and ones that don't. So keep working on that. I'll put up links to some backing tracks where I'm playing the guitar and singing. A lot of other backing tracks you find are just kind of all instrumental, and it doesn't give you these extra measures in between to let things breathe, so you can do these fill-in licks and actually prompt you on the screen where you can put in some of these licks. All right, we'll see you next time.